Hey, so welcome to the Chasing Flow vlog. So this vlog is a series of videos where I'll be exploring different types of movement and breath training in order to tap into flow states, in order to tap into peak performance states. But more importantly, it's not just about getting into a flow state, it's what do you then do with a flow state? What do you do with that peak performance state? So I have 3 goals right now. Goal number 1 is to build a successful performance coaching business. Goal number 2 is to improve my health. Goal number 3 is to improve at golf. Yes. Ever since retiring from martial arts, golf has become my new obsession, both as a coach and as an athlete. So not only do I want to improve my own game, but I want to use everything I've learned about movement and breath and flow states and peak performance states and martial arts in order to help other people on their golfing journey. So in this first episode, I'm going to start off with a move, breathe, flow session, which means a combination of movement and breath training. Today's movement is a 10-minute run. I'm going to be running outside, a little bit of trail running, and I'm going to follow that up with a pretty short but pretty highly effective functional fitness session. I'll show you a little bit about what that's about later. And finally, we're going to finish that off with a meditation session or breath training. There is a difference, and I'll get into that as well. So it'll be a combination of movement and breath in order to get into a peak performance state. Once I'm in that state, I'm actually going to be heading over to the driving range later, and I'm going to try to use all of that positive neurochemistry I've created with my training session in order to help me perform better as I work on my golf game. All right, so here we go, 10-minute run. Let's get this started. Okay, so 10-minute run, check. Before I move right back inside for the functional fitness session, which I'll go over when I get inside, I do want to mention that I'm wearing this Whoop bracelet. If you don't know what these are, it's an amazing company that created this product that helps you track all kinds of biometrics. For me, I'm mostly interested in heart rate, strain levels, and stress levels because I want to see what type of combination of movement and breath creates flow, but I also want to see what the metrics look like behind that. What kind of strain am I achieving? What kind of heart rate levels am I reaching? What kind of stress am I taking on? And then also figuring out how does breathing affect my biometrics? So I'll be posting some of those results at the end of this video. All right, so let's head inside for the workout part. All right, so we're back inside for the functional fitness training. So functional fitness to me is really just training that applies to my day-to-day life. So my goals are to move as easily as possible, to stay mobile, to stay flexible, and also golf. I want to make sure that I'm working on those muscle groups, working on everything I need for my body to perform as well as possible at golf. That said, I like to keep my workouts nice and short. I don't like spending hours on workouts. So I like to keep things pretty tight. I'm actually working on my bedroom right now. The gym downstairs is under construction. We had some water damage that we have to take care of. So a really simple workout today. I've got one of those pull-up bars set up over there on my closet, which is pull-up bars that you hook up on the door frame. Really great if you don't have one of those, I highly recommend. So I'm going to be doing a combination of pull-ups and push-ups as part of a pyramid. That basically means that I'm going to do 1 pull-up, 2 push-ups, 2 pull-ups, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 10, and then all the way back down. So it's not a huge amount of each, but enough that I'm going to feel it. I'm going to get a good result out of that. I'm going to be doing some twists using a resistance band in order to strengthen my core and work on that downswing for my golf swing. And then finally, I'm going to be doing some hip exercises using a resistance band, which is what they call a side walk followed by a monster walk. That's to keep my hips nice and strong. I have tears in both my hips. I have arthritis, bursitis. My hips are a mess. One of the reasons I had to retire from martial arts. But I'm still able to swing a golf club. And so as long as I keep those hips strong, I should be okay for hopefully years to come. So here we go, functional fitness workout. And again, trapping everything on my Whoop so that I can compare my data afterwards, and I'll go over that later on in the video. Peace. so just finished the functional fitness part. So far, 10-minute run. Functional fitness training took me about 20 minutes. Now, often, whether it's right after a run or after this combo run and training, I always go right into breath training. No breaks. I mean, I'll take a sip of water, but that's it. The goal is I want my heart rate elevated. I want all of that positive neurochemistry flowing through my body when I sit down for breathing, because I'm going to leverage that. I can use that powerful neurochemical reaction I just created and take advantage of it with breathing, with meditation. So if you struggle with breath training or meditation, the best hack that I can possibly recommend is to do it immediately after a workout, especially if you push yourself. Yeah, those first few breaths are going to be hard. In fact, that first few minutes, I think of it as recovery breathing. So my goal is I'm not even thinking about anything. I'm just focusing on my breath and I'm focusing on my heart rate. I try to visualize my heart rate slowing down. If I can get my heart rate to slow down, then a lot of positive things start to happen. Doing it this way is also an amazing way to train yourself in order to take control of stress. So if we use golf as an example, if you're stressed on the golf course, it's very similar, physically speaking, to the amount of stress you're creating with a workout. Your heart rate goes up. A lot of similar things are happening to your body when you're stressed mentally and when you're stressed physically. So by training yourself to take control of stress with breathing after a workout, you're actually training yourself to take control of stress on the golf course or at work or at school or anywhere in life that you feel like you need that tool in your back pocket. All right, so for today's breath training, I'm just going to be doing 10 minutes. Some days I like to do 20-minute meditations. Got a lot going on today, so I'm cutting it short, cutting it to a 10-minute session. I should also mention music is a big part of this process. So for the workout, I was listening to this really great DJ group called Electric Licks. They do something called melodic house, which is a combination of live music and electronic music, which I love these guys. They give me such this amazing vibe for my workouts. And then with breath training, I'm actually using binaural beats. So if you've never heard of binaural beats, there's a whole bunch of science behind it. I'll let you check that out for yourself, but I'm using an alpha frequency. So the concept, the idea is that by listening to this binaural beat while I'm breathing, I can hopefully help myself get into an alpha mental state. And there's a whole bunch of benefits on that too, if you want to go check that out. But I like to think of an alpha state as a flow state, a peak performance state. All right, so here we go. 10 minutes of breath training immediately after my movement session. All right, so that was a 10-minute breath session. I'm going to make a whole other video about the type of breath training that I do and the purpose of it and how it works and the techniques and all that. There's a whole series of those coming up. I will mention this though, in today's session, I often use breathing as a way to focus. So like I said, a big part of why I'm doing a lot of this is to build a business. And in today's session, what I was focusing on was the vision for that business. So I like to think of building a business as having 3 important stages. So stage 1 is where you are today. So where I am today is a combination of the skills that I've acquired, the knowledge that I've acquired, my potential, and my opportunities that are in front of me. So that's where I am now. The next stage, or the final stage, is my vision, right? The vision of where I want this business to go. And I'm talking big picture. I'm talking if I get everything I want, if I build the exact business that I'm looking to build, what does that look like? And then stage 2, which is probably the most important, is what are the steps that I need to take to get from where I am now to where I want to go. But I've learned that for me personally, if I don't have that vision, if that vision isn't super clear, first of all, I'm going to lose motivation. 2 is those steps become fuzzy. I'm not really sure where I'm going, right? Like if you're going off into the woods, you're not just going to start walking and hope you get somewhere. Usually you have a place where you're trying to get to, and then you follow the path that's going to get you there. So for me, I have to make sure that vision is very, very clear. So if the vision is strong, the path is clear. So first step for me is always focus on that vision, make sure it's very clear. And then right now, what I would usually do is grab a journal and start working on, okay, what are the steps I need to use in order to get to that final vision that I have in mind. Okay? And again, the purpose of combining movement and breath is to tap into a peak performance state, to tap into a flow state, which I absolutely feel like I've done right now. Now, obviously, it's hard to tell. I'm not performing at anything right now. I'm just sitting here. But first of all, I feel amazing. And that combination of run workout is always the best for me because the run gets my heart rate up. It gets me into that kind of runner's high. But then by doing the functional strength training, I tap into that feeling of strength, that feeling of power. And that really helps to boost my confidence levels. The breathing helps to slow everything down and to leverage that positive neurochemistry that I created. All right, so now I feel like I've got a really good flow state going. I'm gonna jump in the shower, grab a quick bite to eat, and then I'm heading to the driving range. So I'll check back in when I get there. Peace. Hey, so I just arrived at the Anchor Golf Center, which is a driving range. It's about 30 minutes from my house. Now, normally I don't drive 30 minutes to go to the driving range. There's a few that are closer, but this one is special. There's two things. One, it has heated stalls, which is really nice in February, where it's in the 40s. But also it has top tracer technology, so I get to have some numbers attached to my golf game. And so what I'm working on right now, so about a month ago, I had a technical session with my business partner and certified golf instructor, Michel Dubar. And together we came up with a plan to start making some pretty significant changes to my swing. So it's something I've been working on at home. I have like practice balls and I work on those specific movements that we were talking about. Some of it is like weight distribution and transitions throughout the swing, as well as ball position. So my goal today, it's my first range session in a while. My goal today is just to kind of review all of those things that we worked on and to start putting them into my swing and see how that goes. So let's get to work. All right, so just finished driving range session. I don't know if you've ever done swing changes before, but it's really, really hard. You know what? And it was the same thing in martial arts. You know, if you've been doing something the same way for a long time and you try to change it, especially if you're making pretty significant changes, it's going to be hard in the beginning, and it teaches you patience. It teaches you, like, guess what? You're going to have to be bad before you get good. The ball is not going to go where you want it to go, and it's so easy to go back to your old ways. Look, I had a decent swing. I wasn't, I'm a pretty decent golfer, but I know that there's something missing. I know that there's another level that I can reach, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice, right? In the beginning, I'm going to sacrifice playing well. I'm going to sacrifice hitting the ball well until these new changes start to take effect, until these changes start to be instinct, so I don't have to think about it as much, and then I'll start getting the results that I want. So I think it went well for a first session, hit a lot of bad ones, but I felt it. I felt it when I hit those good ones, and I saw the numbers and I saw the yardages. And another thing to remember also, when you're outside in the cold using range balls, the numbers aren't exactly the way you want them to be, right? So a couple of times like, what? I was like, oh yeah, right, range balls, cold, I have to remember that. But for me right now, my goal is to hit it straight. Hit it straight, hit it with confidence, feel comfortable over the ball, and once I get to there, then we'll keep working at it. So that's it for now. Peace. All right, so getting back from the range. So this is like a really full day for me. So run in the morning, followed by a workout, followed by a breath session, straight to the driving range. Just got back, had a full session on the driving range. First one in a while, which means I know my body is going to feel it tomorrow or maybe even the day after that. So almost at the end of every single day, right now it's about 4 o'clock, 4:30, pretty much at this time every day is schedule at least 10 to 15 minutes for stretching. So there's certain things that I have to focus on, like my hips, my back, in order to maintain that level of mobility that I want, not just for golf, but for quality of life. And so every day I have my routine. Some days I'll do a more kind of a yoga flow, but I kind of have my favorite stretches that I try to get through every single day just to make sure that I'm maintaining that level of flexibility, that level of mobility. My muscles just feel better, they perform better if I maintain this regular stretching practice. So again, at 49 years old, it's all about longevity. I want to be able to do the things that I do for as long as possible and at the best level possible. And so I can't recommend it enough. If you struggle with any kind of pain or chronic pain, a daily stretching routine can make a huge difference for you. Yeah, this is definitely something I took from martial arts. The more serious my training got in fight training, the more important these stretching sessions became. And it's not just about high kicks and having flexibility in your hips, and obviously that's great, but I think it's more about just injury prevention, making sure that your muscles are ready when you need them to be. Obviously, a good warm up is important, but a cool down afterwards, where you just kind of help those muscles stretch out, recover. And I know, look, there's different schools of thought about stretching. Some people say it's worthless. Some people say it's great. I can just speak from experience. I can just speak to my own experiences with it, and I know that when I stop, I feel worse. So to me, it's pretty straightforward. You know, when I do this, I feel better. When I stop, I feel worse. So sometimes life is that simple, right? It's just about how you feel, and never mind what anyone else has to say about it, honestly. Another great thing about stretching like this and yoga in general is you can focus on your breathing. So breath training isn't just about closing your eyes and meditating necessarily. It's also in these types of moments where I have to focus on my breath. I know that as I exhale, I'm going to increase my level of flexibility so I can deepen the stretch. As I inhale, I tend to just kind of let go of the stretch. So I try to follow the rhythm of my breathing as far as the intensity of the stretches that I'm using. And when you connect breathing and movement in that way, it can make a huge difference for your body. Hey, so just finish off this video. I'm actually sitting on my computer right now, and I have the Whoop data screens up on my screen here because I'm editing the video and I'm actually just about to put this part in. So my goal with using biometrics in order to better understand how I can combine movement and breath to achieve these peak performance states. My goal is really to see, is there a formula? Are there specific numbers, specific metrics that I can look at in order to then help other people achieve a similar state? So the first thing that I'm looking at is activity strain. So Whoop uses its own type of algorithm, mostly based on your heart rate, in order to calculate the level of strain that a specific exercise will have on your body. And so if we compare the run to functional fitness workout, obviously the run has more strain. Why? Because my heart rate goes much higher when I'm running than if I'm doing a functional fitness workout. Now, the main difference is when you're working out, right? When you're doing push-ups, when you're doing pull-ups, when you're lifting weights, whatever that is, it's not necessarily going to elevate your heart rate the way that cardio training would, but it still has a different type of strain on the body. Now, Whoop do have, in their app, they do have a function that you can use called strength training, where you can pick from specific exercises that they have built into the app, and that will help to calculate a different type of strain that includes the muscular strain. I haven't used that yet. Honestly, because they're very fixed exercises, I tend to do things that most apps don't have, you know, like combining pull-ups and push-ups, that kind of thing. So for now, I'm really just focused on heart rate. That said, if I look at the strain of the run and the strain of the functional fitness, it makes sense to me. Why? Because if I sit down to meditate immediately after a run, if I sit down to meditate immediately after a functional fitness session, I don't get the same level of peak performance state. I don't get the same meditation experience. The runs tend to provide a much more intense experience. So for now, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm also keeping track of my breath work or my meditation sessions just to see what I'm capable of in terms of manipulating my heart rate. Here, I wasn't actually able to get it very low. I didn't get it below 80 beats per minute. Kind of makes sense. I just finished a workout. There is a recovery phase that's going to happen with meditation, which is why I usually tend to push my meditations. If I really want to get the best out of those experiences, I tend to push them towards the 20 to 25 minutes because I try to build in that recovery phase. Those first 10 minutes are usually about recovery and kind of getting my heart rate under control, getting my breathing under control. And then eventually I start to see the heart rate drop quite a bit, and then I'll get into more of a peak performance state. In this case, I kept it pretty short. As you can see, it was only 13 minutes. And my goal was really just to recover, get into a nice focused state, and then move on to my golf training. So again, I'm really new to this part of it. This whole metrics thing is something I'm just diving into now, but I'm going to continue sharing my results. I'm going to continue looking at the different types of activities that I can use, the different types of exercise, different strain levels. And then there's other aspects to flow that I think you can't measure, right? Which is the setting that you're in, the temperature outside. Are you in the forest? Are you in a gym? Are you on the beach? Are you in your backyard? Are you running on the street? And then there's the different types of training that will trigger different mental states for different people, right? So if I go for a run in the forest, I'm going to be in a very different mental state than if I run on a treadmill. It's the same run. Physically, it may look similar, but mentally, it's not the same. And I think that's extremely important when we're looking at flow states and peak performance states. The setting is extremely important. So these are all things that I have to factor in. So for example, that run I did today out in the forest, incredible, felt amazing. As soon as I came inside to do my workout, I probably lost some of that intensity because of the fact that I moved back into the house and I was away from nature, away from that energy. So again, these are all things that I'm tracking. This is more of an introduction. In some other videos, I'll go deeper into the different ways that I can enhance my flow states, or also flow disruptors, which are things we have to consider. But anyway, so if you've been watching so far, thanks for keeping up. As you can see, I'm really obsessed with this stuff. I love this stuff. If you have any ideas, if you have thoughts about this, I'd love to hear it in the comments. I'm really just looking to connect with people who want to geek out on flow states and performance states. Or look, if you're looking to achieve some of these states and get into and try to take your performance to the next level, then let me know and maybe we can help you do that. Have an amazing day. Thanks for watching, and peace.